Good morning and happy Conquest. Now, I know that Conquest has already started. Last week, we put out a poll on Discord asking about how we should structure these videos and what we should do and if we should do anything differently. And about 5 times the amount of people voted for us taking the current video format and doing 5 videos instead of one, but spending more time with each sector. And we tried that last week with Sector 1 and Sector 2. But what I noticed was that comparative to my other Conquest guides, starting, I think, as far back as Luthen, maybe even further back than Luthen, the viewership was like a fractional percentage. And that's fine. It taught me a valuable lesson about the echo chamber that is Discord versus what is actually happening with the greater community online through this game. So just like Ross Geller, Moonborn and I have decided to pivot, and instead we are going to finalize this guide, doing all 5 sectors, but spending more time with each individual one and still doing two infographics per sector. Now, they will be time stamped, which means that if you don't need help with Sector 1 or you don't need help with Sector 2, you will be able to easily jump around to figure out where you do need help. And as always, Moonborn's infographics will be available on Discord as well to help you out in a more quick format. The nice thing about doing this now with Conquest having already started is that we do know what data disks are available to us. And essentially, normally these guides from myself, from other content creators, we're kind of just guessing at the data disks and hoping for the best. We know what's out there. We have a pretty good idea. We're keeping track on Slice of Otagunga. So that does help us with kind of understanding the dynamics for some of the cheese teams that need to be done. So stick around after the intro and we'll start talking about it. Okay, so it's been about 18 hours. I'm getting through Sector 2. I'm almost at the boss. I still have a few refreshes to do for the day. Um, I just wanted to show you the data disks that I'm using. And obviously, I don't have very many choices yet either. So there may be and probably will be a couple changes that happen over the next couple of days. Zealous Ambition is out there. So is Leader's Resolve. I have both of them. I know Fortified is out there because I guess I did not get Fortified. I think it was Fortified or Leader's Resolve. Um, I have Zealous Ambition, 2 of them on right now, which basically means that support and healer units hit like Mack trucks. And I have 3 Ruthless Swiftness. I'm probably going to drop that down to 1 by the time I get to Sector 5, and Ability Exhaust. So we're looking at more of a defensive data disk set. There are some really good combos here. I just like throwing a few Zealous Ambitions and Leader Resolve, and you can basically destroy anything with that. I know that Surasu form, which just stacks stats as you get hit, on top of a Fortified, which is a defensive powerhouse disc, makes a great combo. It's one that I use whenever I'm lucky enough to get Surasu form, which is not very often. The unstable decelerators, and although I haven't seen Amplify Agony, there are caustic emission discs, which work in a pinch. They don't really work for when you want to kill things, but they do really work for when you want things deleted as quickly as possible. And while in many games there would be no distinction there, in this game there 100% is. So let's get into our different sectors and talk about it, right? Going over, right? So, Sector 1. First, let's get into these global feats, right? Defeat 250 enemies on the challenge path, win 20 battles with 3+ dark side clones, win 20 battles with full Jedi Vanguard, win 20 battles with Omega Fugitive Surviving, gain advantage 20 times, use the booming voice disc 60 for 60 assists once you get it, attempt to inflict accuracy down 100 times, and complete a battle with deployable cooling systems. Really, nothing here is too egregious, though I have noticed over the last day of playing the Jedi Vanguard squad without Jedi Master Mace Windu is not that great, right? That is to say, my squad does not have the best um, mods in the world. Keller and Beck is modded pretty well. Jocasta New is modded pretty well. The rest of the Vanguard are not modded very well. And I have been noticing a little bit of struggle with trying to get those wins outside of like 190% stamina. So I would definitely recommend spacing out battles with that team throughout your sectors. And if you have to make up battles after the sectors are over, that's one team where it's going to be okay to do that. That is, of course, unless you have Jedi Master Mace Windu, Depa Billaba, and Temple Guard, and you have the strong, solid team, and you won't have to worry about it at that point. So for Sector 1, we have inflict doubt 60 times, attempt to inflict stagger 60 times, evade 100 times in battles 1, and win 10 battles with Depa Billaba surviving. Uh, when I made this guide before Conquest started, I said that I was going to skip inflicting doubt 60 times because it is the easiest with Jedi Master Mace Windu. And it's just not worth it with um, Dr. Afra. However, having gone through Sector 1 and noticing that I had quite a few battles where I did not need a team, or I had teams at too low a stamina to get characters to survive, that I ended up using Dr. Afra a pretty considerable amount and was able to get a lot more doubts. So I'm probably going to end up doing that. And I'm almost definitely going to end up skipping evade 100 times in battles 1, even with all the foresights, with everything going on. Just, I think I got to the end of the sector, and right now, let's take a look, actually, just because I'm curious. Um, right now, I have 31 evades throughout an entire sector, and that's atrocious. And I hate having to do 100 evades in battles I've won. There are cheeses for that, and we will talk about it. But for 5 data discs, I just don't think it's worth it unless you absolutely have to do it. For 15 data discs in Sector 5, yeah, sure. For 5 in Sector 1, absolutely not. So here are my picks. If you do have the Jedi Master Mace Windu squad, Depa Billaba, Keller and Beck, Temple Guard, and Jocasta New, you can get Doubt from Jedi Master Mace Windu's special. You'll get your win with Depa surviving. Evades from Beck's basic give Foresight. I did find this to get me some, but it was not as reliable, especially with a lot of characters in Conquest avoiding Foresight or hitting past it or being guaranteed hits. You'll get your win with Jedi Vanguard, and you'll get your gain advantage. Now, if you do not have that team, I did Keller and Beck, Depa Billaba, Temple Guard, Shakti, and Plo Koon. Shakti is a support, so if you are using Zealous Ambition, she will hit like a monster truck. You're going to get win with Depa surviving, evades from Beck, and you're going to get your win with Jedi Vanguard. I found that this worked, but like I said, it was not working as nicely as I wanted it to. And after getting, I think, 3 or 4 wins, I ended up just throwing Depa Billaba into squads like my Lord Vader +3 clone squads, taking Scorch out, and just letting her get get win with Depa Billaba surviving at that point because I did not care and I could always come back for Jedi Vanguard wins. She's only 6 stars anyway, so she wasn't doing very much for me even at Relics. The typical Afra squad, you'll be able to get Inflicted Doubt and Stagger from SM33's basic. The Doubt is Afra's AoE. So even if you only get 1 hit of that each battle, that's still 5, and it's not terrible to make that up on the back end. You will get accuracy down from Afra's special, but you will not get a lot of it. Smee's stagger, I was finding I was getting 1 to 2 per battle, and the AoE staggers from other things were a little bit more important. I'm going to skip the next one real quick and just go to JML. If you're really trying to get those evades, JML under Keller and with Keller and Beck, Mace Windu, Depa Billaba, and Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, you're going to get win with Depa surviving, evades from Beck's basic giving foresight because you can call him from Jedi Master Luke, stagger from Cal's last special, and you will get gain advantage as well. Now, because these are all Jedi, JML is going to taunt, which does make it a little harder to deal with that foresight and get those evades. So you're going to want a team that doesn't do a ton of damage, but does have some AoEs. I did get lucky and find one of those really fast Jedi squads in my Sector 1 that does not have Jedi Knight Anakin, and you can typically get some pretty decent evades there if you learn to stall the battle. If you're not on the high end and you need some picks that are maybe a little bit more specialized, right? These are my efficiency picks. We can head on over here. Here are a few other picks that are a little bit more, they're not things that I necessarily would use because I have other options, but just some other options to think about. JML under Grandmaster Yoda with Keller and Beck and Hermit Yoda, they're going to give you a ton of foresight. BB-8 will give you foresight and will also give you advantage. The cool thing here, and the reason we put him in here, is that now Jedi Master Luke will not auto taunt because not the entire team is Jedis. Another great option is Rey with Jedi Training Rey. Because of the way that Mastery works, Jedi Training Rey will eventually just become this monster that never is able to get hit. Kira will also be able to give you staggers with her AoE stagger. This was actually one of the earliest ways that people got to stagger in large amounts was by throwing Kira with Rey. So we're bringing it back old school there. Malgus team. I've used this once or twice, but unfortunately, because Doubt is not an AoE, you're not going to get a ton of it. And if you don't have Afra and you don't have Jedi Master Mace Windu, and this is your only option for Doubt, it is definitely something that I would skip because doing 60 of these with Malgus just seems so disgustingly terrible. But the good news with this team is that Bastilla's AoE is a stagger and Sith Assassin does evade very often with foresight, so you can work on other things. I ended up throwing this in sometimes just because other things were at low stamina. SLKR is another great one for gain advantage. You'll get this in not even that many battles. First Order TIE Pilot has foresight on him for those evades. You're not going to get a ton here. Again, it's a feat that I'm probably skipping. If you have to get it, I would try to stick with the JML squad, but it'll work here in a pinch. The other option for evades is a Phoenix team with Captain Rex. Just be careful with this, because if you throw on too many Zealous Ambitions, if you throw on one Zealous Ambition, Captain Rex is going to destroy everything with his AoE. But with this team, you will get staggers with Sabine, and you will get evades from Cannon's Unique, giving foresight. Another good option is Imperial Remnants, right? If you throw in a Dead Boys Imperial Remnant squad, you will get staggers from Scout Trooper. You will gain advantage from a lot of the team. and maybe you'll get get lucky and get foresights. Now, at the bottom of this infographic, just to kind of point out, I took the care of looking for light side characters that grant certain things on basic. So Hezra and Veteran Han for stagger. I think Veteran Han is only if he attacks a second time, and that's only if the enemy is debuffed. And then Foresight from Keller and Beck and GMY. The reason why we're putting these into the graphics is literally because of JML and his ability to call. I do want to go back to the first infographic though, because I realized I did skip on purpose the Bad Batch team and never went back to it. The Bad Batch team is your bread and butter for this conquest. You are going to be using it all the time. And when you have a team like this in a conquest, it means that sometimes you're going to have battles where you just have to skip them and come back to it later. Do not worry about it. If you look at my game right now, right, and I go through conquest and I pick up this battle, fine, we'll do that because I need to do it later anyway. My Bad Batch has like so little stamina. The last time I did battle with them was at like 3 p.m. yesterday. It's 15 hours later at this point. Omega Fugitive was at 1%. Batcher was at 1%. These guys were at like 30%. It's okay if you have to slow down with this team and you have to go elsewhere. It's fine. Get as many of those battles in as you can now so you have less to go back to. They are amazing. In Sector 1, they are your evade from Omega and Tech. They are your stagger from Wrecker's AoE. They are your win with Omega surviving, and you are going to gain advantage from Omega's special too, right? So that's a really, really big deal. We'll talk about why my Omega and Batch are a little bit lower in just a second when we hit Sector 2, which we're going to do now. Right, so let's head on over to Sector 2. These are my picks. Our Sector feats: win 10 battles with Omega Fugitive and Batcher surviving. Attempt to inflict daze 40 times. Win 20 battles without losing any units. And attempt to inflict buff immunity 40 times. Now here at the top, we have our Bad Batch team, our new Bad Batch team. I took out Crosshair to throw Echo in there because Echo is going to give you days, which we do really like. We want to get those done pretty quickly. With this team, buff immunity, which is not super reliable from Hunter and the way his Soldier of Fortune works. I didn't find that I was getting very many of them in the battle, so don't be too concerned with that one. Days from Hunter Mercenary and Echo AoE special. Omega Fugitive and Batcher surviving, Omega Fugitive surviving, and gain advantage from Omega Special too. Now, as this team started to get down to like 50% and was not being as useful for me, what I ended up doing is taking Omega Fugitive and Batcher out, and I threw them into a Rebels squad with Leia, with Captain Rex, and with R2D2. And because of my ruthless swiftness and because of my zealous ambition, what ended up happening was that Captain Rex would completely annihilate the other team. I would get dazes with Captain Rex, and I would get the survive feat for Omega and for Omega and Batcher, right? So that is how I ended up doing like 4 or 5 battles in the middle of my sector, and that is why my Omega and Batcher are a little lower. I just wanted to get a little creative, and it ended up working for me. Here I am going to use my Keller and Beck and Jocasta New squad to get some dazes with Jocasta New's turn into a Rifle Lady special and win with Jedi Vanguards. But again, I was finding that I was just not able to keep up under like 80 to 90% stamina. So I'm definitely going to be placing these battles throughout my sectors, just so that I don't have to go back to it on like Saturday or Sunday, and I will be fine. For my Rebels squad, I have Leia, Captain Rex, Cassian, R2D2, and Mon Mothma. I did not put Drogon in there on purpose, and that was so that we could slow down the battle to get as much buff immunity from Leia's special on tanks and from Cassian's basic. Now, I put this infographic together before we found out the data disks. And like I said, Captain Rex gets so crazy strong once you have a zealous ambition. So because I was using that, I was finding that I was not getting as many zealous ambition as not getting as many buff immunity as I really wanted to. I actually used a team from the second infographic, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Once again, if you do have the Whale Jedi Vanguard squad with Jedi Master Mace Windu, you've got buff immunity, days, win with Jedi Vanguard, and gain advantage from Depa after a Shatter Point. I don't have the squad. I can't use it. I can't speak on it too well at this point. So we're going to move on to my other picks. This top squad, JML, Jedi Knight Luke, Bastilla Shan, Jedi Knight Revan, and Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is actually the squad that I ended up using to finish out my buff immunity. There is buff immunity on JML Basic. There is buff immunity on Jedi Knight Anakin's Basic, on Bastilla's special ability, Jedi Knight Revan's Mark ability, and I don't remember if Jedi Knight Cal Kestis has it, but essentially I finished this very quickly with one instance of this battle, even with Zealous Ambition and Bastilla Shan hitting like so ridiculously hard. Some options if you don't have these things available to you. A Gas 501st squad, you are going to have Dazes from Gas's AoE, nothing much other than that. But again, we're looking at a much lower roster at this point. Buff immunity from B2's AoE on a General Grievous squad. That is an AoE attack, that is an AoE debuff, so it's a nice way to get it fairly quickly. A Gungan squad for buff immunity and for days. Buff immunity on Tarpal's attacks out of turn, which he does fairly often, and days from Phalanx's basic, and he does get called pretty often as well. And then advantages from Tarpal's basic. I did end up doing one battle with this team, and I got some progress, and I was happy with it. You can throw that Malgus squad back in here at Sector 2. I did end up doing this for one battle just to test it. I threw in Darth Maul in the end for the AoE days. And you're going to get the buff immunity from Darth Revan's basic. I just tried to basic with Darth Revan whenever I could, and it worked pretty well for me. I was happy with it. For the buffs and the debuffs at the bottom, for buff immunity, Cassian, Jedi Knight Cal, Rebel Officer Leia, and JML all have buff immunity on basic. And BB-8, Captain Han, Zeb, Mission, and Veteran Smuggler Chewie, who I guess we had to label because all Wookiees look alike, for days on basic. So those are some options if you have Jedi Master Luke, but you don't have many of the options that I am providing otherwise. Moving on to Sector 3. Attempt to inflict disarm 15 times 5 would be great. Win 10 battles with no tanks. Attempt to inflict blind 80 times and defeat 35 enemies with Spectre units. I do have Ahsoka, so I am going to use a full Ahsoka squad. I will get my defeat enemies with Spectre units. I will get inflict blind from General Syndulla, though it is not a ton of them, so don't expect that to win out your feat. And you will gain advantage from Hu Yang's special. You can try General Syndulla lead. It worked for me in the last Conquest, but that was Sector 1, and it was for dots. I don't know how well it will work here. Defeat enemies with Spectre units, inflict blind, no tanks, and gain advantage from Hu Yang's special. I'm probably going to try this just to see if it works. because if I can get by without using Ahsoka, that would be super, super nice. Again, we have our new Bad Batch squad, though we are doing a full new Bad Batch squad this time. Wrecker inflicts disarm. He's one of a very small number of characters. I think it is Kursatan, Wrecker, and CX2 that have it. Maybe there's one or two others, but none of them are AoEs, unfortunately. You're going to get gain advantage from Omega's special 2 and win 20 battles with Omega surviving. I am going to be honest, I'm probably not going to use this squad super much, only because I need to allow my Bad Batch to build their stamina back up after just completely abusing them in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Lord Vader plus his 3 clones and 8th brother is going to give you the disarm from CX2. It's going to give you inflict blind from 8th brother's AoE. It'll give you no tanks because you're not using Scorch. Accuracy down from 8th brother's AoE. Win with 3 plus dark side clone troopers and gaining advantage from disguised clone trooper. Now, I will say as we get here, I have been peppering in these battles in my sector 1 and 2 as well with this exact squad. Specifically, if I was in a position where I had things that did not have stamina, I needed to just get past a hard battle. I would throw these guys in to get the win with 3 clone troopers and to get some accuracy downs with 8th brother, because it just seemed like I was not going to get enough of that naturally. And it has worked like a charm. I'm just trying to keep my squad at high stamina, like 70s, 80s, so that when I do get to Sector 3, a little bit after I finish this video, I will have them high enough to continue pounding ahead with that squad for the sector. Jabba is another great option here, inflicting blind from Jabba's basic, disarm from Kursatan's special, accuracy down from Cad Bane's basic, and gaining advantage from Jabba's AoE. Just be aware that if you have Zealous Ambition on, Jabba's thermal AoE is going to delete things. So if you want things to survive, as much as we want to open with that ability, just keep in mind things are going to disappear very, very, very quickly. Blind goes relatively fast with this team. I find that I try to get them down. I kill whoever the strongest damage dealer is, and then I basic and call Jabba with Skiff and just try to basic with everything and get what I can in. Some other options for Sector 3, you have your typical CLS squad, right? Inflict blind with Chupio's AoE special. There are no tanks on the squad, and you get advantage from Chupio's same AoE, same AoE special. The Night Sister team is really awesome at no tanks. Unfortunately, it's not going to give you anything else, but if this is your only option for no tanks, well, then it's your only option for no tanks. JML and Jedi Knight Luke plus 2 Jedi and a Spectre unit, right? Remember that JML is great at calling kills for any light side units. So you will get your defeat enemies with Spectres, inflict blind from Jedi Knight Luke special, though not very much, and you'll get gain advantage from JML special. So for those of you that aren't aware of this, you can use JML and those 4 Jedi to constantly call the Spectre unit. And if they get the kill from that call, then awesome, you're good. It's great, and you get it with the Spectre, and perfect. This has been a cheese since JML first came out and Conquest first came out. We have a Mandalorian squad here. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work, but I do think it will work. You're basically just taking Paz Vizsla out so that you have no tanks, and you're throwing Armorer in there to inflicting blind with Ig 12's AoE special. Now, if you don't have like Armorer at high levels, you can throw a non-Mandalorian in there. Just make sure that they're not a tank. so that you can kind of double up on that. Now, your blinds on basic is really just old, I guess, young Omega, but only if she has evasion up. So it's not going to probably work super well as a call. And I put blind on basic from Jabba in there, even though he's not light side, just because it is a very, very common tune, even at the early mid game, and just as a Conquest powerhouse team. Moving on to Sector 4. Happy, happy clone friends. Gain, gain health steal up 60 times, attempt to inflict tenacity down 50 times, win 10 battles with crosshair surviving, and inflict 300 dots with abilities. So this is part of the reason why I am letting my new Bad Batch team rest a little bit, right? Is so that I can throw in crosshair and not have to worry about it. Um, my happy clone friends with Scorch now, you're going to get a ton of dots from Lord Vader. You will get your win with 3 dark side clones, and you will get gain advantage from Disguised Clone Trooper as well. So a super nice way to do that. You could probably, I've been finding you could throw anyone in the squad. If you don't want to use Scorch, you don't have to use Scorch, especially if you have like a Ruthless Swiftness on there. You could even throw Darth Vader in there if you want to get 300 dots super ridiculously quickly. Um, because my Bad Batch team is low stamina, if I get to Sector 4 and they're still low stamina, I'm actually just gonna I'm gonna nuke it with Crosshair and throw them into other squads. Um, Kenobi with Cat, great, it'll take care of it. Throw Crosshair into that aforementioned Happy Clone Friends team. Great, doesn't matter. It will work as long as they're high enough stamina that he goes first. Like I did in Sector 3 with that Leia team. Where is it? Or was it Sector 2? With that Leia team with Captain Rex, right? I can throw Crosshair into that Leia team, and Captain Rex is going to delete the hell out of things, and Crosshair is going to survive. Now, if your entire team is at high stamina and you don't need to worry about that, then awesome. The team works great in Conquest. Unfortunately, they're not really super autoable. Another option is a Papa Palp team with Bane. Bane helps with the health seal up. If you don't have Bane, the team itself will still work. Malik, Darth Vader, and Eighth Brother. That is your tenacity down from Malik's basic, inflicting 300 dots from Darth Vader, health steal up, alternating between Darth Bane and Papa Palp, and inflicting accuracy down from Eighth Brother's AoE. This team is a little bit squishy outside of Malik, so I would be very careful about what you put it up against, at least something where they will definitely go first, like against a Bad Batch squad that does not have any additional speed or any extra overpowered on them. I will throw in 2 or 3 battles with my Jedi Vanguard, right? Tenacity down from Jocasta Nu after she receives a debuff. It's her unique. And winning with Jedi Vanguard. Like I've said in every sector so far, this is a team that, because I don't have Jedi Master Mace Windu, I'm kind of just throwing in as afterthought battles whenever I can, and when I have to make it up in the background, because I will have to make it up on the back end, I'm not too worried about it. I just want to get them as high as possible. Going to my less efficient picks, you have your CLS squad again for tenacity down from Chewbacca's basic, and he's going to assist quite a bit with guard and gaining advantage from Chupio's special. A Ray Ufu team is going to work pretty nicely. Tenacity down from Cal's AoE, health steal up from Visa's special. Now, depending on your data disks, I put in +2 attackers because I wanted to make sure that things died. But if you have a lot of zealous ambition, you can throw in supports here or healers here so that they just blow things up if you want to. You could throw Kira in there as well. She has health steal on her unique. It's not as much as Visa's, and I think that you are better off just worried about getting 5 to 10 of them with this team and keeping the team alive. So I might even consider something like GMY and Hermit Yoda. GMY because the constant foresight and buffs will make them hard to kill, and Hermit Yoda to keep everybody healed. Visas is, I believe, a support healer, so she should do some pretty nice damage with like 2 Zealous Ambition. And Cal is as well, so he will do really nice damage when you allow him to attack as well. It'll be a stall team for you at that point. A Bosk-led Bounty Hunters team, right, with Grief Karga and Cad Bane. You will get health steal up when Grief kills with his special. So he does his special. If it kills anybody, then everybody gets health steal up. So it is an option. It is a mass attack ability, and inflicting accuracy down with Cad Bane's basic. This is going to be a little bit of a tougher team because of that skill shot aspect to it. But if you know what you're doing, it is a good option. And Bosk, especially with defensive discs, especially with something with Fortify, does work fairly nice in Conquest when you need him. Your Imperial Remnant Dead Boys squad will give you tenacity down from Death Troopers AoE. It'll give you accuracy down from Scout's basic, and you will get gain advantage from Scout and Captain Enoch. So you'll be able to get quite a bit from that team if you need it. And your tenacity on basic characters are Chewbacca and BB-8. So if you do want to use a JML squad to get those things, you can 100% use a JML squad to get those things. Moving on to our final sector. Our Sector 5 feats: attempt to inflict Order 66 15 times, gain repost. I don't know, is it repost or riposte? I don't know. 40 times, attempt to inflict ability block 60 times, and win 10 battles with 3+ pirates. I am going to try as much as possible to get as much Order 66 as I can using the full clone team. I found in the last Conquest this can be very annoying, because by the time you get to Sector 5 and you have all the data discs that you want, you are killing things way faster than you are able to get Order 66. And unfortunately, Scorch's Order 66 does not work, as it is part of like the unique, and the characters apply it to themselves, and it's really stupid and I hate it. I found that in the last Conquest cycle, I literally got 0 Order 66 and then had to take all my data discs off, go to the bonus node and cheat with CX2, constantly basicing the same character to get those 10. We will talk about a cheese in the next infographic if it gets to that point. For repost and ability block, I can throw in my Spectre squad with Ahsoka Tano. Repost is Ezra's AoE on all Spectre allies, and ability block on Ezra after 50 stacks. My new Bad Batch team, Omega Second Special, is going to give me that same repost ability block from Batcher, but it is limited in the way that it works. Like I think they need to be marked in order to ability block. It's a little bit annoying. You're not going to get too much with it. Win with Omega to Fugitive Surviving, and gain advantage with Omega Special 2. Now, for pirates, we'll talk about survival in a minute. I don't know if this is going to work. None of my pirates except for Smee or Hondo are at 7 stars, but now they are relicked because of the way that relics work. So I am going to try a Captain Athano squad with Smee, Kix, Hondo, and I don't know, Quiggled, I guess. My Quiggled is still 3 stars, so I don't even know if that'll work, but I have Envy's Nest, I have Sana. I'm going to try a full pirate squad. I'm going to wing it. I'm going to see if it works. If nothing else, I can do like Captain Athano, Smee, Hondo, and then throw in 2 really strong supports like Captain Rex. And even like Fifth Brother is a support that has an AoE ability. And that might work as well. This is one that I'm really going to need to play by ear once I get to Sector 5. Some options here if you don't have those options. So Order 66. Um, this is something that you can do on the bonus node with 501st Rex, CX2, Wat Timbor, Malik, and Darth Treya. Essentially, if you want this to be a low scoring team or a low hitting team, you can use this on the bonus node. You will have to take Zealous Ambition off because you have a lot of supports in that team. But the goal here is effectively to throw weapon tech on CX2 so that he's constantly getting TM and hitting General Kenobi constantly so that General Kenobi is giving Order 66 with each and every hit. Once again, you're going to need to take Zealous Ambitions off or you will destroy everything. Your Jedi Master Luke squad with Cal, Ben, Bastilla, and Jedi Knight Luke will give you ability block on Old Ben's AoE and Bastilla's basic. And Riposte is Jedi Knight Cal Kestis configuration bonus. I believe it is on the middle special, but I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. Papa Palp lead again here with Darth Vader, Count Dooku, Malik, and Wat. Ability block from Vader and Dooku basics. Riposte from Count Dooku. Unfortunately, he only does it on himself. I believe the only AoE is for Riposte is Spectre with Hezra, and I maybe Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is also an AoE, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. So it will be a slow grind. Otherwise, you can throw tank tech on Malik, and I would throw weapon tech on Dooku to get him as many turn cycles as possible. Of course, you also have your Inquisitor squad. You can do either Third Sister lead or Grand Inquisitor lead. It doesn't really matter, but your ability blocks are going to come from Grand Inquisitor, Seventh Sister, and Third Sister, and your accuracy down is going to come from Eighth Brother's AoE. Your attempt to inflict ability block on basic can come from Bastilla, it can come from IG 12, it can come from T3M4, Mace Windu, and from Kyle Katarn. So those are all options to slot into a Jedi Master Luke squad if you need it. This little info ditty over here is based on, we didn't know the data discs when we put this in, but when we talk about any survival feat, right, this is when you have offensive discs, you want to use things like Third Sister lead with Grand Inquisitor plus 3 or 4 Amplify Agonies, or Lord Vader plus 3 or 4 Amplify Agonies, and things will get deleted. In this particular, with more defensive discs, you're going to want to throw a ton of Zealous Ambitions in there. So like I did in Sector 2 with Leia going first and then Captain Rex going second and hitting everyone with their AoEs and deleting them, it is a great option for not needing a very high level team. I would definitely, if you're really struggling, try to stack 2 Zealous Ambitions. You're going to want a Ruthless Swiftness in there to bring up the TM of your team after that first turn, as long as you can get past their protection. And Fortify is a really nice disc for when characters get hit really early on that are low levels. So if you throw those things together, you shouldn't have a hard time as long as you have a character like Captain Rex. You can throw them under any GL, honestly. Your Inquisitor squad with Grand with Riva is still going to work pretty well if you use like I don't know about Riva because I don't think Riva gives the bonus turn. But if you do like Grand Inquisitor lead and Fifth Brother has an AoE and is a support, and Grand Inquisitor does stack purges at the beginning of the battle, and I believe does give a bonus turn as well. Um, Really, any support with an AoE is going to be a solid addition to allowing any team to survive. Um, with all of that said, I hope that you find this helpful. I hope that you get through your conquest. I very, 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 very strongly recommend hitting us up on Discord. We have a really nice area of the Discord where we talk about conquest. We have some very knowledgeable folks over there. Kazgul, who does his own guides in text form. He and I butt heads on our on how we do things, but it's actually really cool because you get the two perspectives, and we both red crate every time. He lives for helping people get their red crates. So stop in, say hi, and do me a favor. Do not ask how to do things on the last day. It always hurts my soul when people say, man, I'm 30 data disks away and it's the last day and I wish I could get these things. And then I find a way for them to do it, but they just do not have the time available to them anymore. Stop in early, ask your questions, get your help. I hope all of this was useful to you. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day.